What's up, everyone? It's Michael Kozlowski.
Peter Caratenuto. Remember that?
Yeah. So we're going to talk Sony today.
Yes, Sony. We're going to go... basically, why we've spurred this is because it's May 2018, and in the very tail end of May, early June, DPT-CP1 comes out in Japan. Shortly after that, 3 weeks, June 21st, comes out in the US.
So you're going to be in Japan?
Yes, we'll be on location doing for the release of the CP1.
So you're going to Japan just for
that?
The DPT.
Just for that? No, it's a part of the mission over there. But no, we will be there. We're kind of splitting our forces. Yeah, we'll be bringing the Japanese version of the CP1 on our Good eReader store, of course, because this device is only going to be released in 2 countries. It's going to be released in Japan, and then it's going to be released in the States. Neither of those 2 countries ship outside the States. We have a sales division of our company that brings devices that are locked geographically to other countries. So yeah, from the beginning of June, we're going to do the Japanese version, and then get into our American distributors down in the States to do the American version.
Yeah, so basically, like, we're going to be the first ones that actually do like an unboxing of the DPT-CP1
outdoor
and
test,
a review. Yeah,
stylus test, everything,
so
the whole nine.
When you're in Japan, you're going to basically do all that like on scene, and then once the American version comes out, we'll do the same thing with the US version as well.
It, yeah.
So well, let's talk availability. I mean, so DPT-CP1 10.3 inch e-reader is the first non 13.3 in 2 generations. It's significantly cheaper at launch, but it's only available in the States and Japan, and B&H, Sony Direct, like their distribution partners, like their entertainment, their law firm people. There's very few people that actually sell this, but nobody ships outside the US. So it's one of those things that even the digital paper, like the 1 and 2, deadly, tremendous. And with the CP1, I mean, it's brimming with specs, and it's smaller and more portable. It's not much bigger than, like, say, an iPad. So, and it comes with like a stylus, everything like that. So this is like why we opened up our store initially, is to be able to like offer people who don't live in the US or live in other countries, which the vast majority of the world does. So
there's 200 plus countries in the world.
Man, so you could like order products from our store in countries where you couldn't really do that.
Yes, that's accurate.
So
Sony's pioneered a lot of stuff too, because Sony, actually, if you think about it, the Sony DPT-S1 really launched the whole 13.3 large screen e-reader trend that we've seen from that date. And we released even our own, and then Onyx came into the mix, and Icarus came into the mix, and all these guys started just...
Pocketbook had prototypes.
Pocketbook. There's a whole bunch of Chinese companies that, there's just so many names that would come to mind, but and then they started the whole 13.3 inch large screen trend. And then around the time the Remarkable came out, now there's suddenly this trend of 10.3s all over the place. The Onyx books, the Remarkable, like we said, a couple of the Chinese developers, and now the Sony is doing 10.3s. So
a lot of these companies, it's monkey see, monkey do.
Monkey see, monkey do, exactly.
History of e-readers. I mean, it's always been 6 inches.
Always, from the get-go. And Sony was actually before Amazon to do e-readers.
So
a lot of people don't know that.
Sony has been in the e-reader game longer than Amazon. Sony was the first people to incorporate a front light. Although it was terrible. We'll include a picture in here so you can take a look at it here. But yeah, I mean, it was like blue and light spillage and things like that. But I mean, they were the first ones to like do it. And as Sony came along, they had awesome like aluminum style like designs, like the PRS 650.
The 950 that was available for a very short time. Then they went into the T line, the T1, the T2, the T3, and then that's pretty much where they stopped with the whole consumer level, low end, entry level e-reader game.
It was too competitive. Sony products were more expensive than Amazon. Their bookstore paled in comparison to Amazon, then Kobo and Barnes & Noble. And Sony was pretty well marketing their e-readers in the States. So, I mean, they were competing against Amazon in their home turf. They were competing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they got out of the game. I think they got out of the game a little too quickly.
I think so, too.
Because if they would have waited a few years, Barnes & Noble was a shadow of its former self. Kobo wasn't even marketing their devices in the States.
Not till this year, early this year, did they even start that. Yeah.
So it's like they could have had their professional line of like their digital paper line, and they could have had like their consumer versions. But you know, everyone running the bookstores, like the Sony Reader store, they all like left and moved on to like other companies and things like that. I still follow them on LinkedIn because like, I remember I was talking to like the general manager of the store, the curators and editors. It's like I still have them all on like LinkedIn, so I still chat them up occasionally just to find out like what they're up to. But yeah, I mean, I thought Sony got out of consumer grade e-readers like way too early.
And Sony has their hand in everything. They're one of the few guys that still make MP3 players or digital audio players, I should say. Yeah, the Walkmans, the tiny little ones that, you know, that like $9.99, really cheap, because nobody uses MP3 players anymore. Basically, iPod rules the realm in digital audio. So,
I still know I know runners that have MP3 players because they fit it to like their thing, and it's like smaller. Like,
and you don't want like a big phone.
Exactly.
And then you get there's more to a phone that kind of interrupts you as well, because there's like alerts and games and Facebook.
It's not only that, but it's bigger and it gets sweaty, and like the last thing you want is your primary phone, like your $1,000 S9 Plus or your iPhone X. You know, you want just something cheap and disposable that just like clips on. It's your workout. It's your workout player.
It's
so
dedicated. I was gonna say, you called it, by the way, on the CP1. You basically, what Mike has been doing is he's the brains behind everything. He's been breaking these stories, and he was like, you know what? I got a feeling CP1's gonna buck the trend of the 13.3s, and it's gonna go 10.1. And he called that, and I was going to say that between the S1 and the RP1, neither of us liked the operating system and the UI and everything on the RP1. You can't connect to Wi-Fi unless you're using a computer. It's very restrictive in a lot of ways. What do you think about that? How they went from S1, which was a little more open, a little more I can go to Starbucks and connect to my Wi-Fi and do my work there, versus a very locked, closed garden OS. What did you think about that?
It's the same OS that's on the RP1. It's going to be on the CP1.
I know, in a smaller shell,
they will have an Android app. I didn't hear anything about an iOS app yet, but they just said mobile apps. Well, you'll be able to
on the go. You're able to.
So like if you're that was one of my biggest complaints about the
RP1,
the current generation of the Sony digital paper, the 13.3, is that no Wi-Fi,
nothing.
If you want to like load in, say, work PDF files, you have to like do it at like a computer and stuff like that, whereas
like a dedicated PC desktop
with
program
with the software on it.
Exactly. You'd have to download the PC desktop program onto your laptop or desktop, plug your DPT in, sync everything, to even so much as enter a Wi-Fi password.
It's not like drag and drop Windows Explorer. It doesn't support that. So one of the good things is with the launch of the 10.3 is that they're making like apps for like your phone and stuff like that.
So it'll be like you'll be able to simply open an app and kind of manage things from there, rather than going, I'm about to leave the house, I got to go back, turn on my computer, plug it in, download my program, open it up, and a tremendous amount of steps you needed to take.
You just connect with Bluetooth and like send your work files over and stuff. So if you have like your work files on like most people who work like in like most professional jobs, like a lawyer, in entertainment industry, they have like their local sort of like file thing, whether it's on Slack or whether it's like on their they're using like BlackBerry Enterprise servers and things like that for security. So whatever you have, you'll just be able to like make it rain with documents.
No, absolutely.
So I heard it's gonna be like $599 US at like launch.
That's really nice because the S1 at launch was well over $1,100.
Yeah,
and that was crazy. The RP one, the second gen, was a little cheaper, and now it's
still launch. It was like $899,
right.
$999,
and now it's into the $699s after being a year old, a year and a half, 2 years old. But the CP1 is a good price point. Still doesn't have a backlight or front light, so that's a little restrictive. I don't know why a lot of the 10.3 guys aren't putting lights on their devices. They've had 10-inch e-readers, 9.7-inch e-readers all day long that have front lights on it.
Word.
And yet, for some reason, you increase 0.3 of an inch, and oh no, I can't fit them anymore somehow. And it's like, I know production costs and light bars and everything, and distribution gets lost, but there's large screen e-readers that have been doing it. Icarus does it. A lot of other guys do it. I don't know why they're not putting them on it, especially with a big name like Sony having the money behind you.
So
it's weird.
How do you think it'll do?
The price point is going to be huge because this is the third gen, and the first two were unreachable, unachievable by so many people. Who is going to go out and say, oh, a DPT, a large screen, yeah, I'll put $1,500 Canadian on it. It's a tough pill to swallow, whereas this is much cheaper. It's a smaller shell. It's fresh. It's competing against all the other small large screen e-readers. It's not huge anymore. I think it'll do better than the RP1, especially with the fact that you're going to have apps to allow you to manage things better than a dedicated desktop setup.
See, I don't think it's going to do well.
Really? Okay. Why is that?
Remarkable blitz marketing campaign.
Right.
Crowd funded it.
Right.
Everyone, like every major blog, every major media organization report on it. You can go to Facebook and like a few e-reader pages without
right.
seeing remarkable ads. But do you ever see like a Sony digital paper ad?
That's true.
I never do. Maybe once in a while I'll see a B&H ad from it, but Sony never runs direct ads.
That is true.
And I know the Sony, the digital paper team, it's like two people.
Yeah.
One's on West Coast, one's on the East Coast. They don't really have like much of a presence in the US. They have like less than like 10 people that actually work in the division. They basically Sony Japan makes it. Sony Japan makes the firmware, and then they just like do an English version and then send it over.
Right.
So there's they do two things. The digital paper in Japan is white.
Right.
It's not black.
Right.
So they do a black version for just
US,
the North American or the
just
US
the
audience.
US, not even North America.
So Ian Gadget, The Verge, Ars Technica, they initially covered the Sony announcement, but they never talked about when it's going to be available in Japan, when it's going to be available in the US. Maybe they'll do a review, but Sony really doesn't send a lot of review units to like the blogs.
Right.
So that's going to hurt their marketing efforts. So personally, I don't think it's going to do well, just because who's talking about it? How are they marketing it? I know Sony does road tours where they go to a lot of like the professional conventions, but they don't market it to consumers. So
well, that is the thing of it, is that the digital paper system has always been marketed exclusively to professionals, doctors' offices, lawyers' offices, and all the resellers are those. I mean, there's only the resellers on their website were Sony directly, B&H only a little bit into the first sale of the S1, and then there was like a couple law firms, a music studio, a doctor's office chain or something. So it's not really the same as the Remarkable in the sense where it's like, hey guys, you want to draw and stuff? Here. This is more like, oh, do you have a law association? This is for you.
This is a replacement of paper.
Exactly. So I can see why you'd think that, and I'm not saying
you're wrong,
at the same time,
like, is going to conventions and marketing your device with a booth the key to success?
Right. Yeah. We'll have to see.
I mean, at the very least, they need Facebook and Amazon ads, which is something that they don't do. But I guess that's besides the point.
We're gonna have to see.
I don't think it's gonna do well, but if you're interested in the new digital paper, the 10.3 inch, Peter's gonna be reviewing it unboxed in Japan, and then about like a month later we'll be releasing the US version. So
yes.
Peter speaks, you speak Japanese.
Oh yeah.
So even though that the UI will be in Japanese, there's no English version on it.
I'll do the videos in English for you guys, you know what I mean? So yeah, no, it's gonna be good. It's basically half the price of the S1 when it first came out. I'm gonna be on this side and think it's gonna do well. Mike's over here thinking it's not gonna do well. Both kind of valid points. We're just gonna have to see how it goes, and you guys are gonna have to make the ultimate decision.
Yeah. What do you think about the new digital paper 10.3 inch? Do you think Sony did the right thing about getting involved in that competitive space against the Onyx Book Note, which has been a big success, but the Remarkable has been the poster child of 10.3 inch e-readers. Light, portable. So yeah, let us know. Do you think you're gonna buy the Sony one? Do you think that they did the right call to get involved in this space? Drop a comment below. We'd like to hear from you. For ereader.com, my name is Michael.
And I'm Peter.
Everybody take care. Good.
Oh, thank God that didn't cut that last one. That would have been like 12 minutes.
Yeah.